Hey guys, it's Sim, and this is Wrestling Unlimited, as it's Friday, and that means we're here talking Friday Night Smackdown. I thought Smackdown was a pretty good show, had a very interesting close or finish or ending, whatever you want to say. Before we even get going, I want to say thank you to Esports Gaming Rules 316 on Twitch for the Tier 1 subscription at 5 months. They said, "Hi, Tim. What a wild SmackDown. Even with Bray Wyatt's return, can't wait for what's next for him." Oh, we're going to get into all that for sure. But as you see on the screen this way, we got Luke. Luke, what's going on?
What's going on, everybody? Hope you're having a good Friday. I thought SmackDown was good as well. I mean, a lot of stuff to be answered, but we'll see where that all goes. I think we also had maybe a potential match for Crown Jewel as well.
The IC title match?
That and maybe we get Drew versus Karrion Cross as
Yes,
well.
yeah. The rematch. That's very possible as well, yes. But with that, we'll get into all that in a moment. But first, I want to say thank you if you are joining us live, twitch.tv/PW Unlimited, or if you're watching or listening later, whether that's youtube.com/Pro Wrestling Unlimited or podcast services all around the globe like Stitcher, Spotify, Google Pod, Apple Pod, Anchor, iHeartRadio, and so much more. I also want to say thank you if you're watching live and helping us out, because you can do so a couple of different ways. You can either hit that donate button down below, or you can donate Twitch bits. Also, remember, you can subscribe to the channel one of two different ways. You can either be like Esports Gaming Rules 316 just did and subscribe with a tier 1 subscription. Or if you say, I ain't got that, but I got access to an Amazon Prime account, well, then you take that Amazon Prime account, you take that Twitch account, you link them together, bada bing, bada boom, and you're Prime Gaming. And not only can you use that Prime Gaming subscription to support us for no extra cost, but there's benefits for you as well. You get early access, or you get access to games for free, and you get access to stuff for games like DLC packs, and sometimes for like Grand Theft Auto Online, they'll give you free money and stuff for the game. Really cool. I recommend go checking it out. Even if you're not going to support us with your Twitch Prime Gaming subscription, whatever Prime Gaming subscription, go check it out to benefit yourself. But on the flip side, if you are watching live on YouTube, you can help us out over there by hitting that join button below to become a channel member. As a channel member, you get early access to news, early access to podcast episodes, early access to non-news videos, and so much more. And finally, head over to the Epic Game Store. Head over to the Epic Game Store and buy something. Whether you're buying a free, or whether you're buying a new game, whether you're buying a free game, whether you're getting something old, something new, something whatever. No matter what you're spending your money on the Epic Game Store, it's going to ask you if you have a code, and you've got one right down here. Use creator code PW Unlimited for all Epic Games and Epic Game Store purchases, whether that's on your computer through the Epic Game Store, or maybe it's on your PlayStation, your Xbox, or your Nintendo Switch for Fortnite, Rocket League, Fall Guys, and Rumbleverse. But with that, we've got Friday Night Smackdown to talk about. Let me switch these things on the screen so it's easier for me to read. The show itself opened up, I guess you could say, unconventionally for WWE, as it opened up with a shot of the parking lot and a car accident. Michael Cole explained to us that Karrion Kross and Scarlett were in an accident today. Medical personnel tried to check on them, and suddenly Drew McIntyre ran out and attacked Kross. Now, it didn't appear that McIntyre was responsible for the accident, but took advantage of Kross's misfortune, I guess you could say. Cole and Wade Barrett then discussed the ending of McIntyre and Kross at the strap match from Extreme Rules, and they noted that Kross is still scheduled for a fatal four-way match tonight to determine the new number one contender for the Intercontinental Championship. But I felt like this was interesting. And then they also said there was an ongoing investigation to this accident. It was an interesting start to the show. Not anything I was expecting.
Oh yeah, I wasn't expecting this at all.
So, like I said, unconventional for WWE, because 90% of the time their shows start with just an in-ring talking segment. But to kick it off with something in the parking lot and an incident in the parking lot, we all know from NXT, Triple H likes chaos in the parking lot. But as we move forward, the New Day would make their way out to the ring. Kofi Kingston reminded us, well, I can't remember exactly which one, but Kofi had a match, and I think it was either Kofi or Xavier reminded us that they've got the record for tag team championships as far as holding them the longest, 483 days. But Michael Cole then let us know that it's roughly about 30 days till the Usos actually break their record. And I go, oh, I didn't realize it was that close. I didn't realize it was that close at all. But as we go for it.
So I think this was last week when the New Day team with Braun Strowman to take on Sami and the Usos.
Mhm.
The New Day pinned the Usos.
Right.
So maybe we see New Day versus Usos at Crown Jewel, and that determines, okay, whoever wins,
Right.
it's either Usos record or the titles.
Yeah. Usos can defeat the New Day to extend their time as champions and break the record, or the New Day could stop them. I honestly think this is a tough one. I was going to say Usos break the record, but I don't think it's that clear cut. Like, I know they really like the New Day, so maybe they don't have them break the record. I think they break the record. What do you think?
I mean, I think they're going to keep the titles
Mhm.
on them as long as Roman's champion.
That's exactly my thinking as well. We go to the back. We got Sami Zayn. He spoke with Solo Sikoa and Jey Uso. No Jimmy. They said he's taking care of business. Zayn decided to give Sikoa the night off and told Jey to watch his back tonight, unlike he did on Monday. Jey was furious when Roman Reigns called Sami. Zayn blamed Jey for his loss on Monday. Reigns then yelled at Jey over the phone and told him to make sure Sami wins tonight. Zayn then got back the phone, started laughing, and Jey wanted to know what was so funny. Zayn just goes, oh, it's an inside joke. We got a 15-minute match. Very long match to open up this show. Sami Zayn versus Kofi Kingston. Long match, but I thought it was a good match. For the first, 4 or 5 minutes, I don't want to say nothing happened, but there was just a lot of back and forth, move, quick-paced action. And then they went to a break, and then they really started going after that. So, the last 10 minutes of this match. The first 5 minutes, really good, but kind of just action. But then the last 10 minutes, this match, turned up. So Zayn took over after the commercial break and rocked Kingston with a forearm. He slowed the pace down with a chin lock. Kingston then escaped, and Zayn rocked him with a clothesline for a near fall. After a scoop slam, Zayn leaped off the ropes. Kingston recovered and caught Zayn with a dropkick in midair. Kingston ran wild and climbed to the top rope, where Zayn jumped to his feet and shoved Kingston to the floor. Back from the commercial break, Kingston hit the SOS for a close near fall. As Kingston climbed the turnbuckle yet again, Zayn rolled to the floor. Kingston readjusted himself and hit a dive from the top rope to the floor, wiping out Sami. At ringside, Uso and Woods started arguing. Uso then rocked Woods with a super kick, which distracted Kofi. Zayn and then took advantage of this and hit the Blue Thunder Bomb for another very close finish. I thought that was it. I thought it was done. Sami takes advantage of the distraction, hits the Blue Thunder Bomb. That's his finisher and doesn't get the pin, though. Kofi does recover, and Uso interferes again. Kingston rolls up Zayn, with which another spot would look like it could have been the finish, but Uso slipped in behind the referee's back and reversed them, basically rolled him over. Zayn then held on to the pin and defeated Kofi. So they cheated, but what was Jey told? Do whatever you need to do to make sure Sami wins. Not the biggest fan of the finish with the whole Jey was just able to get in there and readjust to them with the referee not noticing and stuff. But I thought the match itself really, really good.
I'm honestly kind of surprised Jey even agreed to help Sami, since how much he's against Sami, unless I missed something where Roman telling Jey, make sure you help Sami.
So Roman
needs it.
Roman told him on Monday, make sure Sami wins. Sami then lost. Roman got pissed off. Told him again tonight on the phone, make sure Sami wins. So basically, we now know Jey Uso scared of Roman, or maybe just at least scared to get kicked out of the bloodline, and so he's going to do whatever Roman says. That's how I took it. He's either A, scared of Roman, or scared to get kicked out of the bloodline.
I would say probably just scared to kicked out of the bloodline because now it's just like 4 against 1.
Right. Then in the back, we got Triple H. Did not expect to see old Papa H on this show, Uncle Paul, whatever you want to call him. Triple H was speaking with some officers, presumably about the Karrion Kross accident. Mysterio then approached him and gave him a heartfelt speech about his recent problems with his son Dominic. Rey noted that he couldn't take this anymore. So he came to Smackdown to talk to Hunter about possibly quitting. Basically, telling him I'm done. Triple H's like, no. That ain't going to happen. Come in my office. Let's talk some stuff out. We'll work this all out. We'll figure out what needs to happen. So they go into Triple H's office, and it was very obvious what was going to happen here. They're going to add Rey to the IC title #1 contenders match because Karrion Kross is injured out of it. And as we learned, Rey picks up the victory and now gets a title shot against Gunther. And the dynamic of that one, big old Gunther and little Rey, was like back in the day when Rey took on the Big Show. But it was an interesting one, seeing Triple H actually on screen.
I mean, it's very similar to when NXT had William Regal as their GM.
Right.
But, WWE, they don't have Regal anymore, so they might as well use Triple H as that main guy.
But where's Adam Pearce? We haven't seen Pearce in a while.
He was helping break up the Karrion Kross Drew McIntyre
Was he?
brawl. I saw him.
Oh, then I just must have missed him. My bad. Again, but that's not Pearce as an authority figure. That would just be Pearce as a producer trying to break things up. So I don't know. Maybe they're not going the route of Adam Pearce as an authority figure anymore. I mean, I'm not against Triple H being the guy in charge on screen.
I mean, he was also kind of the guy in charge, like in NXT, though, like a little bit.
Kind of when major, big, huge announcements needed to be made. Like, Ciampa's hurt. He's vacated the belt. We got to get a new champion. Triple H came out for that. But for the most part, it was Regal as the on-screen authority figure. I mean, I get what you're saying. We knew Triple H was also in charge because, like I said, for big things, he would show up and announce it. But we'll have to wait because, again, like, it's been a while since we've seen... Well, let's see. It's been almost, unless I'm just not remembering something, about a month since the last time I remember seeing Adam Pearce as an authority figure.
Yeah, the last time I can remember was on SmackDown when he got beat up by Ronda.
That's what I was thinking too. Yeah, so it was about a month and a half, almost 2 months ago now. As we move forward, we have Braun Strowman in a handicap match. No, Damage Control interrupted Perez in the back. And Perez angered Bayley when she pointed out that she was on a losing streak. Bayley didn't like that comment and challenged her to find some tag team partners to take on all 3 members of Damage Control later on tonight. We got a 6-man tag. It ended up being Roxanne, Shotzi, and Raquel Rodriguez against Damage Control. And a pretty good match. I enjoyed it. I thought Raquel, and we'll get into that on Raquel, but Roxanne, we'll get into that when we get to it. I thought Roxanne looked fantastic tonight. Basically her main roster debut.
Oh, yeah. Roxanne, she did really well. I mean...
Oh, yeah. As we move forward, go for it.
I wonder... Another question is, like, how much longer do you think she'll be in NXT before she goes up to the main roster? Because she did pretty well her first time on the main roster.
That's a tough one because she hasn't been in NXT for, 6-7 months? I feel like she hasn't been down there long. There's a lot more they can still do with her in NXT, but seeing her on the main roster tonight, you go, oh, no. She's better than like half the women on the main roster. We need to move her up now. We need to move her up right now. Like, she can get fast-tracked and say, screw NXT. I would not be against Cora beating her at Halloween Havoc and then her moving up. I could see that.
I mean, yeah, there's still a lot of things they could do with her in NXT. I mean, she's a pretty young wrestler as well. Like, WWE signed her because she was like a young, very talented wrestler. That's what WWE likes.
Right. I mean, she was, right before she got signed by WWE, I mean, she was the last ROH Women's Champion before Tony Khan bought the company. And she is 20 years old. She's 20. She'll be 21 she'll be 21 the day of Crown Jewel, November 5th. So she's almost 21. So yeah,
That's crazy.
very young. Now it makes me want to look. How old's Cora Jade? Just for reference.
I think she's like 22 or 23. I mean, she's got to be close to the same age as Roxanne.
Yeah, let me do some math here because this isn't saying it. Same age. She's, well, technically, she's almost a full year older. They're both born in 2001, but Cora's birthday's January, Roxanne's November. So Cora's almost a year older. Yeah, they're both really young. And I mean, if WWE uses them properly, they can be around in WWE for a very long time. I can see both of them lasting. As we move forward, as I tried to say like 3 times now, Braun Strowman was in a handicap match. It lasted a minute and a half, and we saw MVP and Omos in the crowd walking to ringside. Strowman destroyed, I think it was James Maverick and Brian Thomas is what I wrote down. Hopefully I wrote that down correctly. Not much to the match. It was all about the post-match. He basically ignored Omos and MVP being at ringside or ran the front row early on. He powerbombed Thomas on Maverick and picked up the victory. After the match, MVP gave him some credit as far as saying that MVP gave him credit where it was due and praised Strowman for being a big monster. But he says Strowman looks normal standing next to someone like Omos. He then ended it by saying, some monsters stay in the shadows. Which I don't know what that line was supposed to mean. Do you?
I don't know.
Did he
really.
just mean Omos is taller than you, so you're in his shadow?
I mean, that might be, unless it's like a quote from like a movie or a book.
Because Michael Cole also repeated the line. Michael Cole repeated the line. Like, the way Michael Cole said it was like we're supposed to think of that as something very significant. So the only thing I can think of is that he's trying to say something along the lines of, well, Omos is taller than you, so you're in his shadow. They've been teasing this for a very long time now. MVP's been doing the whole, Omos is the biggest monster, and then someone will say something about Braun, and they'll be like, no, Omos is the biggest monster. So this has been coming for a good 4 weeks or so, at least.
The match is going to suck, though.
Yeah, most likely. So then we got a recap of the Donnybrook from Extreme Rules. Then saw Sami Zayn, Jey Uso, and Solo Sikoa in the back discussing Sami's win. Uso tried taking credit for it, but Zayn thinks that he won the match all by himself. He then said, hey, Solo, did you see what I did? He's like, yeah, no, I was watching Sami. I can learn a lot from Sami. Sami's like, yeah, you can. And so Jay got mad that, even Solo won't give him the credit for helping Sami, basically because Sami would have lost without him. Zayn refused to give him credit. And then Solo focused on his match coming up, Fatal 4-Way, IC title #1 contendership. He said he's paying attention. He's going to learn a lot. They then recapped LA Knight turning on Maximum Male Models. There was something, I didn't really catch it, but I heard Michael Cole say something weird about how, I guess, LA Knight and Maxine's dad dropped the Knight name from them. I don't know. There was some weird reasoning for them to try and stay why LA Knight was Max Dupree for a little while or something. I don't know. This was kind of weird. But LA Knight jumped Mansoor before the bell. After a distraction from Maxine, though, Mansoor took over and slowed down the pace with a chin lock. Knight did escape and hit a jumping neck breaker. He caught the boot and flipped Mansoor over. He followed this up with a hard clothesline. Knight then knocked Mace off the apron and hit the BFT to pick up the victory. And the match went 3 minutes. It was what you would expect for a 3-minute match. After the match, Knight turned on the crowd and noted that he didn't win the match for them. And he sent a warning to the locker room. I mean, this was all right. It was nothing special, but cool. He's LA Knight again.
Yeah, I really like it, him being LA Knight again. And the question is, what other wrestler is going to get their old name back? Could we see someone like maybe like T-Bar going back to Dominic Dijakovic?
I would hope. Maybe
I mean,
go
there's
for
a
it.
good chance.
Well, then
I mean, there's a
maybe
good chance it'll happen.
right. Maybe Mansois can be. What was his real name?
And
Or Mace? No, Mace. Mace. What's his real name before he was Mace? Oh, he was going by his real name. I'll look it up.
Dio Madden or something.
That's it. Dio Madden. That's not his real name. His real name is Brendan Williams. But yeah, he was going by Dio Madden when he was doing like Raw commentary and he was in NXT. So maybe he'll go back to Dio Madden eventually. I don't know. I just don't know how long maximum male models is going to actually last. Now that, they've gotten Dupree or Knight out of there. Because that was always that was a total Vince thing because Vince thought it was funny. That you have models and their manager and stuff. So we'll see. Maybe Triple H keeps it around for longer than we think.
I think he'll keep it around for like at least a couple more months. I mean, eventually they'll change their names back.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, we'll see. It's whatever. I mean, I honestly, Mansoor's really, really good. Like, I've followed Mansoor since before he even got signed by WWE because he wrestled here locally. He's really good when he's just him. And we've seen that in like his Saudi matches and stuff. Like the match he had with Claudio Castagnoli, the former Cesaro in Saudi Arabia, was fantastic. I've seen him in some matches because his gimmick on the indies was that he was only, even though he's not this young, but he's like, his gimmick was he was a kid. He was like 17. He would wrestle. I saw him a couple times wrestle in a Bailey Hugger T-shirt. And that he always had a mentor wherever he went kind of thing. It was always kind of cool. But he's a fantastic wrestler when he could just wrestle and be him and not have to be this quote unquote gimmick. So we had a 6-woman tag. Match went almost 7 minutes. It was Damage Control, Bailey, Io Sky, and Dakota Kai against the team of Raquel Rodriguez, Shotzi, and Roxanne Perez. And freaking Michael Cole goes, Christmas is coming up, and he plugs the Madison Square Garden show the night after Christmas and goes, but wait, you know what I want for Christmas? I want Shotzi's tank. And I go, what? That made no sense. Like, you want Wade to steal Shotzi's tank and give it to you for Christmas? I don't know. Also, question. I mean, you wouldn't know the answer. I don't know the answer or whatever. So are they doing, not the Raw, but the Monday after Christmas is the 26th. They're doing the Madison Square Garden show. So I would assume either that's a pre-taped Raw or that's a SmackDown live event because the way they advertised this MSG show on the 26th was as a live event. So I assume it's either a SmackDown only live event or Raw's pre-taped and they're just bringing a bunch of people for that. I don't know. It's an interesting one.
I would assume Raw would be pre-taped, but if they're gonna have wrestlers like work on Christmas, everyone's gonna like complain about it though.
Well, it's the day after Christmas, so you're still gonna need to travel on Christmas.
Yeah, and I feel like a lot of people are gonna be mad at WWE for that though.
Yes and no, because they've been doing this December 26th show at MSG for years now. Like, it's been a while since they've been doing this day after Christmas show at Madison Square Garden. It's never on television, which is why I think either Raw's pre-taped or it's SmackDown only.
Unless they have the wrestlers just like travel like right after Christmas during the day and once they get there, they just wrestle.
Well, that's what I would assume. They take like late flights or something. So, where was I? After outmaneuvering Dakota Kai, Perez dominated Io Sky and sent her out of the ring. She followed this up with a suicide dive on Bailey, where Bailey looked like she hit the back of her head on the announce table. Also, during Bailey's entrance, I don't know what was going on during Damage Control's entrance, but Bailey was freaking jaw-jacking and yelling at somebody in the front row or 2 rows back. Somebody near the front, Bailey was like going off on them. I don't know what it was, though.
It was probably just someone just booing her, and she was just being a heel and stuff.
So I know recently Bailey was at a live event and somebody in like the second row had a sign that said, I
saw that.
I came just to see Bailey's butt or something like that. And Bailey like told the guy off.
I saw the video and I saw Dakota Kai just like covering Bailey's eyes.
Yeah.
That was hilarious.
Oh, Rampage ending like a normal Rampage. Just a bunch of random ass people running down to the ring. Ain't no shocker there. I mean, they're not all random, but it's just really AW doing AW stuff. Bunch of random people at the end of a show running out. Anyways, back to SmackDown. Oh, Happy Gilmore. That's a great movie. Rather watch that than Rampage. Anyways. Shotzi tagged in and got a good reaction from the crowd. The heels quickly took over. They isolated her on their side of the ring. Rodriguez got the hot tag and ran wild as well. Tried to press Perez onto Io and Dakota at ringside, but Bailey cut them off. Sky and Kai then pulled Rodriguez out of the ring. Rodriguez held up Kai, but Sky took them out with a moonsault. Shotzi then hit a flying crossbody on the pile at the outside as well. Perez and Bailey then went back and forth in the ring for the last few minutes. Perez reversed to belly for a close near fall. Bailey struggled to put Perez away, and Perez reversed a rose plant, but Bailey then reversed the reverse, hit the rose plant, and picked up the win. So nothing against Roxanne getting beat here because she's not officially on the main roster. She's an NXT wrestler, blah, 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 whatever. But they made Roxanne Perez look like a star. She looked fantastic in this match. And like I said earlier, if they move her up to the main roster now, she's probably better than half the women they've got. So, since Saturday said the exact same thing I was just about to say. He said, Booker T really did train Roxanne Perez very good. Yeah, she trained at Booker T's Reality of Wrestling. And I mean, that's why on the indies she was known as the Prodigy, Roxanne Perez, because she took to pro wrestling super quickly. She got good really fast, hence why ROH put the title on her when she was only 19 years old. She's going to be a massive star wherever she goes for the next, as long as nobody messes up the way they book her, she's going to be a big star for the next 20 years, probably 15 to 20 years.
So also they had like Roxanne pick Raquel as her pick your poison.
Right.
So maybe on Raw, Corey Jade's like, hey Bailey, I'm really upset that Roxanne never picked you.
There you go.
You want to face Raquel for me?
That's not a bad idea. Bring Bailey back to NXT for a one shot.
I mean, it'd be perfect because Bailey was like, Roxanne, why would you pick Raquel over me?
And then we get that singles match, Roxanne and Bailey. So, video package recap: Legado del Fantasma debuting last week and attacking Hit Row. I'm still a little upset that it's, and nothing against Zelina Vega, but I thought Elektra Lopez was perfect in that role with Legado del Fantasma, and now it's like, I don't know what they're gonna do with her by herself, if anything at all. I hope them replacing her doesn't lead to her getting released eventually.
I have an idea for her.
Go for it.
So maybe you put her back down in NXT, and then you have her be a manager to Tony D'Angelo, and she can be like, hey, I never wanted to leave by your side. You know, they kind of left me. So how about I be by your side?
Not a bad idea. My thought was maybe she comes to the main roster and manages like Los Lotharios or something.
I mean, that's another possibility.
Because then Los Lotharios could feud with Legado del Fantasma, and then she'd be like, oh, you guys dropped me for her? Well, I got my own boys now. And something like, maybe they do something like that.
It was kind of weird also because during their like last segment in NXT, like she got in the car with Legado.
Exactly.
So now it's like, so like where does that lead? Like how do they get Zelina?
Right. And I would have assumed they would have already. Well, it's a tough one. Do you just ignore it and not say anything? Or do they eventually say, this is why Zelina is with us? I mean, I would. It's tough. Because you got to assume, Well, maybe a lot of people don't watch NXT, so they don't remember Electra with them, and then it's just, yeah. That's the thing that we'll see. I still think maybe she can manage another team against them, even if it's just brief. We had a video package. A Bray Wyatt symbol flashed on the screen as Hit Row walked to the ring. Video package recap Liv Morgan versus Ronda Rousey from Extreme Rules. And we got another video hyping up the return of Sarah Logan as part of the Viking Raiders. And then a match that went less than a minute and a half. This match went a minute and 20 seconds. It was Legado del Fantasmas, Joaquin Wilde, and Cruz del Toro against Hit Row. Santos Escobar and Zelina Vega didn't stay at ringside and walk to the back, but that plays in later. Shanti the Adonis and Top Dollar jumped Wilde and del Toro during their entrance, and they beat them down for several minutes before the match even began. I mean, technically the segment went a good 5 or 6 minutes, but the match itself was 90 seconds. The referee finally started the match in the ring. Hit Row dominated on Joaquin Wilde and Cruz del Toro. Suddenly, Santos Escobar would appear, and he pulled Adonis off the apron, making him go face first into the ring steps. He then rolled under the ring to hide. B-Fab tried to run after him. Zelina then ran out of the crowd and took out B-Fab. Wilde and del Toro then took over in the ring, hit their finish, and defeated Hit Row. It was all right. I didn't hate it.
I feel like it would have been so much cooler if Swerve was with them, so then you would have 3-on-3. But Swerve, he's in AEW now, so.
Yes, but technically, you see how they always do, we're the OG3. Swerve was actually a late addition to the Hit Row group, like last minute before they started all their NXT stuff. It was literally supposed to be only the 3 we see now. And then they were like, you know what? Let's add Swerve. And they added Swerve last minute. But I agree. Swerve was great in the group. And like him and Top Dollar especially played off each other very well. So I am kind of sad that he's in AEW because I'd like to see him back with Hit Row. But what didn't make sense to me, you go for it?
I know, like, right when they brought Hit Row back to WWE, everyone was speculating maybe they would add Carmelo Hayes and Hit Row. People thought that would have been really cool.
Yeah, but then what do you do with Trick? Because then you don't want to get Hit Row too big. So you also got Trick Williams. Maybe Trick Williams just becomes his own thing. I don't know.
I do remember, like, someone was tweeting at Carmelo, like, hey, when are you going to join Hit Row? And he responded, never. But shout out to those guys.
What didn't make sense to me, and maybe I've missed something, why the hell Liv attacked Sonya Deville? Because Sonya was making fun of her in her promo? It is very weird. In the back, Kayla Braxton's interviewing Sonya Deville. She mocked Liv Morgan for some reason for losing the title to Ronda Rousey, and immediately, boom, Liv's just there. And they're fighting. And Liv's beating her ass. They brawled around the backstage area. Morgan placed Deville on a table, climbed up a structure, and did a senton onto Deville through the table. Like, that's made no sense to me at all. Like, why are these two beefing? For what?
I mean, you could say maybe she was upset at Sonya for attacking, for like making fun of her, but also she's just kind of on like an angry rant that she lost her SmackDown Women's title.
I get that, but it's like, so she's just not gonna mention, oh, I lost to Ronda, I want the title back. Like, there's no mention of, I'm going to fight to get my belt back. It was just, I'm going to beat Sonya Deville up. I'm going to look mad in the camera, and that was it. Like, nothing.
He's trying to, like, make her, like, look tough, where it's maybe she's trying to, like, scare Ronda, saying, like, maybe eventually she's going to be like, hey, I want my title back.
Maybe.
So we'll see.
Then we got a 16.5-minute match. It was the Fatal 4-Way, number 1 contenders match. Winner gets a shot at the IC title. It was supposed to be Sheamus, Karrion Kross, Ricochet, and Solo Sikoa. Well, Sheamus come down, Ricochet come down, Solo Sikoa come down. Now, earlier in the show, Michael Cole had let us know Karrion Kross is still set for the main event. But once this match was about to start, Michael Cole told us, never mind, Kross is out with an injury due to his car accident. We then learn that Rey Mysterio, who got a huge pop from the crowd here in New Orleans, will be replacing Karrion Kross. During the match, Michael Cole announced Mysterio is an official member of the Smackdown roster. So that means he doesn't have to do anything with Dominic. And I like that because remember what I asked you on Monday? How do they stretch this Dominic Rey stuff if they want to like do a big Mania match or something? Well, here's how you do it. You stick one of them on SmackDown.
Yeah, I think this is a very smart idea. And also, like, him versus Gunther, like, it's just one of those matches that could help Gunther out really well. And
Mm-hmm.
it's like, like Ray's the veteran. He could like, help like make this new guy on SmackDown look good.
Right. I mean, Gunther's a
Not
new guy to
sort of new.
Gunther's a new guy to WWE. Gunther been wrestling all over the world for years. Trust me, I've seen. Like if you've seen his PWG stuff, oh boy. But no, I get what you're saying though.
Yeah.
As far
Also, these two guys are gonna work well together, though.
oh yeah, well Ray always works well with a guy 6 times bigger than him.
Mm-hmm.
So as far as the match does go, Sikoa and Ricochet fought it out early on. Mysterio sent Sheamus to the ringside area and hit a dive on all the people. Back from a commercial break, Sheamus caught Mysterio with a backbreaker. He then teased a bro kick, but Sikoa rocked Ricochet with the clothesline instead. Sheamus and Sikoa then squared off and got a huge pop from the fans. Sheamus then sent Sikoa to the floor, but Sikoa caught him with a Samoan drop. Ricochet took out Sikoa with a dive, and Mysterio hit a splash on Sheamus. Ricochet and Mysterio then squared off. Again, huge reaction. The crowd was into everything in this match. Like the crowd, like this match was really good, but the crowd actually like took the match itself up a notch because they just loved everything. Ray and Ricochet went back and forth trading pinfall attempts. Ricochet caught Mysterio in a Northern Light suplex into a suplex for a near fall. He climbed to the top rope, but Sikoa jumped back up and ran wild. He rocked Sheamus with a spinning heel kick and then posed. After another commercial break, Sikoa was firmly in control as he beat down everyone. Sheamus recovered with a pair of boots to Sikoa right in his face, like just kicked him right in the face. I think he connected with at least one of them. Sheamus then climbed the ropes, but Ricochet and Mysterio both cut him off. They attempted a double suplex, but Sikoa cut them off with a double powerbomb. Sheamus then broke up a pin attempt with a knee off the top. Sheamus then destroyed Sikoa with 26 beats of the Bowdrin. Not the normal 10, 26. After an Irish curse backbreaker, Sheamus locked on the cloverleaf, but Jay and Sami would run out and attack Sheamus. Remember, Michael Cole made a point to let us know during the entrances of this match. It's Fatal 4-Way, which means no DQ, no count out, none of that stuff. So, no DQ. Butch and Ridge Holland would then run out and make the save. The Bloodline and the Brawling Brutes then brawl. Excuse me, I try not to burp there. The Brawling Brutes and the Bloodline brawl. And my first thought was, oh yes, give me Sheamus and Roman. That match would be really good. And Sheamus might be one of the biggest baby faces they've got right now in WWE. Like when I went to the live event a couple of weeks ago, I don't think anybody, maybe Braun, but it was close. I don't think anybody got a bigger pop than the Brawling Brutes, especially Sheamus.
I mean, we've seen Sheamus versus Roman before.
Yeah,
Like they had that feud. That feud for the WWE Championship when Sheamus was in League of Nations.
Well, Sheamus also helping out Triple H against Roman cashed in his Money in the Bank on Roman at Survivor Series 2013, I think it was 14. No,
it was 2016.
Yeah,
I believe,
26.
That's when
2015. 2015.
2015.
Yes,
because they did that tournament.
Right.
They did that tournament where Seth had to relinquish his belt because he tore his ACL, I believe.
Yeah, he just destroyed his knee.
Or he destroyed his knee, yeah.
Same thing. But yeah, it was Survivor Series 2015. Then we go into Royal Rumble 2016. Triple H comes out the champion. We go into WrestleMania in 2016, WrestleMania 32, Roman, Triple H. Yeah. I don't know why I was thinking 2013 for some reason, but it was 2015. Everyone's correcting me in the chat now. Hey, I got my years mixed up. It happens. As far as this match does go, in the ring, Mysterio set up for a 619, but Ricochet blocked it. Mysterio then recovered and spiked Ricochet on his head. Mysterio then hit the 619, finished off Ricochet with the frog splash, and pinned him to become the new #1 contender for the Intercontinental Championship. And like I said, the dynamic of Big O Gunther and Little Ray, oh yeah, that match is gonna, as the kids say, hump.
So before SmackDown happened, when I first saw this match was going to happen, I was predicting maybe it would be Solo Sikoa. Maybe it'd be a way for like give Solo Sikoa the IC title so they can give Bloodline some gold as well.
So when I did my video about this match earlier today, I said that I thought it was too soon for Solo Sikoa to be going for the IC title. I get what you're saying. That way, Bloodline's got all gold and stuff again. But I felt that maybe it could have been Ricochet just to give us Ricochet and Gunther in a good title match. But I think Ray's the better choice. Nothing against Ricochet. I think Ricochet versus Gunther would be great, which I think we've probably seen that before. But Ray, I think, great choice.
Also, speaking of Ricochet, he's been taking a lot of pinfalls lately.
Yeah, but he's still as popular as ever with the crowd, so I don't think it matters.
I mean, yeah, but I mean, I like Ricochet though. Like, he's one of my favorite wrestlers in WWE, and I don't think. Yeah, I mean, I kind of thought maybe since like Triple H is now in charge, I thought they would use him like a lot better and well. I mean,
Well,
maybe.
better and well is very subjective, I guess you could say. Because better and well, he's already being used, even though he's taking a lot of pins, he's already being used better as far as he's not just the guy that gets beat after a minute or two. Now he's in there having competitive matches with everybody, showing what he can actually do. Also, I have found it, Ricochet versus Walter, 2017, PWG All-Star Weekend 13. 2017 is the last time I can find that they had a match. It was a 16.5-minute match in PWG. Very nice. That same show also had Jeff Cobb and Matt Riddle against the Lucha Bros. Jeez. Oh, and Keith Lee versus Jonah. God dang. That had to be a hell of a show.
Also, speaking of Jonah, I don't know if this is right or not, but I think I saw something where WWE was trying to bring him back.
So I've heard that there might be interest, but people just think because he lost last week to Okada that could have been him wrapping it up with New Japan. But no one actually knows. It's people just speculating at this point. But we know that Triple H fucking loved Jonah or Bronson Reed. I mean, you see how quickly he put the North American title on him in NXT.
I think Jonah also said he was also promised an NXT championship run as well before he got released.
That I don't remember hearing. Maybe he said that. I don't know. But we then have the main event segment of the show. Bray Wyatt makes his way out. He's got the door again. The door swings open. We see the light that kind of looks like the Brody Lee hallway light from AEW. And the crowd goes wild when the door pops open. Bray, then himself, just the real man. No mask, no gimmick, no nothing. With lantern in hand, walk down to the ring. He gets in the ring and he's very emotional and he's like, I'm just going to be real with you. This is not a character. This is not anything. It's just me. I'm going to be very real. Last year, I've almost lost my career. I've lost a couple of loved ones. One of those being Brody. I don't know who the other one he was referencing, but one's got to be Brody that he was mentioning. And he's like, I'm also going to say, and he's stumbling over his words going, I'm nervous. I'm nervous because I owe everything to you guys. Me being back here is because you guys wanted it. And he got very emotional. He poured his whole heart out and he was fighting back tears. Then we get a creepy video on the screen of what I assume is him wearing the mask, the new mask. It's very cinematic and eerie. And it says something along the lines of, don't look into the future. Don't remember the past. Come with me now. Follow me, this and that. And he's like, you won't regret it. And then he goes, "Duh," shows the new Bray Wyatt logo, and the show's just done. Off the air. I loved Bray's promo, but then the eerie mask guy at the end, whatever that's going to be, I'm like, oh no. Don't tell me that he's got split personality again. Now, maybe, if he's got more say this time, it'll work better. Because, I mean, if you listen to like the Matt Hardy podcast, he did the whole thing about Bray Wyatt and how Bray would get very frustrated when he'd want his character and the Fiend and whatever he was doing to go one way. And Vince would just flat out be like, nope, we're doing this instead. That's what I want. So hopefully he's got more say. I think if he's got more say, this is going to be good. Thank you. Magic Man says Brody and Blackjack Lanza. There we go. That's the other one he was referencing without actually saying. Blackjack Lanza. What did you think of the closing segment with Bray Wyatt?
I mean, it was a good segment. It was a very emotional one because Bray was trying so hard not to cry. But I mean, the ending, it's a big question mark because, like, what are they gonna do? Unless it's like maybe it's like Bray wanting to be himself, but like maybe something else is trying to like control him.
Maybe.
I mean,
but I
this
mean,
is my guess, but I don't know.
So maybe it's similar to the Fiend thing of the split personalities, but this one is more of just because the Fiend was just a creepy guy that can beat ass. So maybe you're right in this new personality is more controlling than the Fiend was. I can see that.
Like the Fiend is now like separate from Bray now.
Possibly, yeah, because we saw at the pay-per-view with it being its own character in the crowd. So yeah. But I thought when he kept going, this is me being real. I'm going to be real. I thought he was going to be like, it's me, Wyndham. I thought he was going to say his real name. I thought he was going to go super like break the fourth wall and just be like, it's me, Wyndham. But no, he said Bray. He said me. I'm going to be real. Bray Wyatt. Fans were chanting, thank you, Bray. Thank you, Bray. It was good. I really enjoyed it. And then it just over. And I go, whoa. That's it. So no mention of the 6. Well, the other 5. Which was interesting.
Yeah, I was very surprised. Like the other like 5 or the Fiend and the Firefly Funhouse characters didn't like come out.
The Fiend, the Witch, the Rabbit, the Pig, the Buzzard. So that was an interesting direction to not mention them at all. No tease of something along like them with the masked guy on the screen or something. No, nothing. And Bray's a Smackdown guy. So we got to wait another week, unfortunately. Also, as far as waiting a week, some stuff was announced for next week. Liv Morgan will be taking on Sonya Deville. Logan Paul will return. And the Women's Tag Team Champions, I think it's a title match. Damage Control versus Raquel and Shotzi. Is it a title? Yeah. They will defend their titles, Raquel and Shotzi.
I also got something to say about that.
Go for it.
How did they earn the title match? Unless I missed something.
Oh, I have no clue because Damage Control won tonight.
Yeah, it just doesn't make sense how they earned the title match.
They didn't earn it. It's an AEW move. They just gave it to them. But with that, guys, that was a Friday night SmackDown. Overall, a really good show. I mean, not every show is going to be perfect, but I mean, what do you expect? I thought overall, most things on this show, great. Very good. But you know what we thought of the show? Now it's time for us to hear what you guys thought of tonight's show and why is this not working? Come on. Text messages are not wanting to pull up. Might have to pull them up a different way. Here we go. There we go. But before we get to the text messages, I do want to check the polls as far as the Twitch poll does go. 86% of you liked tonight's show, with 14% thinking it was just all right. As far as the Twitter poll does go, again, 86% liked the show, 14% thought it was just all right. And as far as the YouTube poll does go, dang, 87% liked the show, 10% thought it was just all right, and 3% did not like SmackDown. So unanimously, most of you guys really enjoyed tonight's SmackDown. A couple of the comments on the YouTube poll. Oh, I forgot to mention that. Bray's new theme. Again, most of the time, theme songs kind of just over my head. I don't even think anything of them. But is that a new song? Is that I don't know if I've heard the song before, but it sounded kind of familiar. Maybe like the beat and the rhythm is just like taken from something else, maybe.
I mean, I've never heard this song before. I mean, if I listened to it more than once, I'd probably like give more thoughts on it.
I don't know. I just listen to country music, so yeah. This person said, "Oh, I'm not reading that one." This person says, "Okay, why are you gonna comment and go? I didn't watch SmackDown. I heard Bray was on." This person said, "I didn't watch SmackDown." Oh, okay, I read this wrong. This person says, "I didn't even watch SmackDown until the Bray Wyatt segment. That's all I cared about." As far as the text messages do go, person says, you know what? I'm going to save this one. They're asking about the North American title for Halloween Havoc. I'm going to save that. And we're going to do predictions for that. Because when is that show? Next weekend? Yes, next Saturday.
Yeah.
What are predictions during the week for that show? This person says, do you think the Bloodline will face a random team of opponents for each Bloodline member or another faction in War Games? Well, I think it's going to be the Bloodline. I think what they're trying to ask is it going to be an actual group facing the Bloodline, or is they're just going to put a bunch of random people together for War Games? And we've talked about this a number of times already, that it looks like it's going to be just random people put together.
I mean, they have time to like figure out who those random people are.
Right.
I mean, it could be anybody, honestly, because War Games isn't until like late November.
It's
I
still like a
believe.
month and a half.
Yeah. They probably just want to get Crown Jewel out of the way first, then they can build towards it.
Yeah. As we move forward here, says,
I mean, heck.
Go for it.
I mean, heck, maybe it's not the Bloodline. Maybe it's somebody versus Judgment Day.
I was thinking the same thing too recently. Like maybe, well, that would have made more sense if Rey didn't get moved to SmackDown. Because now it's like, well, no, never mind.
You don't have to, because Rey said, I'm not going to fight my son.
Well, yeah, but you still could have had him in War Games and just never had him in Dom Touch. But you've got, well, do you do a 3-on-3 War Games then? Because you've got Judgment Day, Finn, Dominic, Damian, AJ, Gallows, Anderson. Because Edge is gone right now. Edge is filming a show for Disney. He's in the new Percy Jackson show. So Edge is gone right now. Rey's now on SmackDown. Now you got the OC versus Judgment Day. Maybe that's oh man, that match would be great in freaking War Games. Give me AJ and Finn fighting in a War Games match. That'd be freaking fantastic. Mr. says, do you think the Wyatt Six might have a secret 7th member in the White Rabbit? No. The secret 7th member is whoever this masked guy is, because now we know that the masked guy and Bray are separate.
Like, maybe they're not like actual like people behind it. Maybe it's just like they're like the puppets in real life. Maybe it's not someone like a Joe Gacy,
right? Yeah.
Or maybe like a Rip Fowler. Maybe they're just the puppets like turned into real life.
Right. Final text message here says, the whole Wyatt segment made me a little bit emotional. Bray is the type of person who can make a lifelong fan out of someone, and he could restore people's faith in wrestling. Who have been considered stepping away from wrestling. I love Bray Wyatt and I love wrestling. Yes, Bray was fantastic tonight. With that, guys, that's going to wrap everything up. I want to say thank you for joining me here, joining us here, twitch.tv/PW Unlimited. Hold on. Oh, wait, never mind. I was getting another text message, but never mind. It was more predictions for Halloween Havoc. But with that, I want to say thank you for joining us here, twitch.tv/PW Unlimited. Or if you're watching or listening later, whether that's youtube.com/Pro Wrestling Unlimited or podcast services all around the globe like Stitcher, Spotify, Google Pod, Apple Pod, Anchor, iHeartRadio, and so much more. We got no pod or pay-per-views this weekend, so we will see you back here on Monday for Monday Night Raw. Have a good day. Have a good rest of your Friday. Have a good weekend. We'll see you next time. Have a good one, guys.